Hey guys, Bushcraft412 here. I want to talk about the New York SAFE Act today, kind of do a two-part video. One is an update of the law itself, and two is kind of a response to a lot of my viewers, because I've had a lot of criticism about my reaction to this. And we're going to go into the update first and get the factual stuff out of the way, and then kind of give you my opinion thing. Update. This fight against this law is making great progress. The New York State Pistol and Rifle Association has filed a claim with the state, and they are filing a lawsuit, class action lawsuit, along with other groups and firing groups and ranges and all that. And the NRA is going to join this class action lawsuit. And they filed this, about a month ago. And they have up to 90 days from the day of filing to start their lawsuit. And I know when they do file the lawsuit, they are going to file an injunction that will hopefully get the law put on hold until the court thing plays out, which could take years. Secondly, the resistance to this bill has picked up dramatically in the past couple of weeks. Now that the dust is settled and everyone has had a chance to really read this thing and look at it and pay attention to it, people have seen that there are major problems with it. And initially this bill went over, and the polls that I saw showed that there was overwhelming support for it. Like 75% of the population supported it, and that's, guys, that's New York. It's the state we live in. It's a very anti-gun state. But now there's been a lot of sheriffs who've come out on record saying it's a bad idea. And now a lot of the county governments have actually come together. And at this point, 29 out of 62 county governments have passed resolutions asking for the repeal of the SAFE Act. So we actually have just under half of the counties on board with this, saying it's a bad idea. I believe there was 16 sheriffs who have asked for its repeal directly. Plus, the Sheriff's Association did write a letter saying there's some major flaws with it. So this whole thing is picking up. Not only have we had just numerous protests here in the state, but our counties, the small counties, are getting. New York's a very weird state. It's like 18 million people in New York City, and then 2 million people in the rest of the state. And most of those people in the rest of the state live in Buffalo, Rochester, Albany, Syracuse, and those big cities on the thruway. And the rest of New York is very rural. And, there are places in the Adirondack Mountains where, I know because I'm up there all the time, if you need the police, you may not be able to get the police. Lots of times some of these counties only have maybe one officer working. And if he's tied up on a couple of calls, you may not get an officer to respond for hours. And even then, sometimes some of the counties are so big, they could literally be half hour from you at the time of the call. And they've really called for this repeal because they've said that the 7-round magazine limit is just no way that people in rural areas should be expected to defend themselves with 7 rounds. So big support for this coming around. And my county actually is voting on a repeal resolution on, I think late next week they're voting on it. So if we pass that, which it is expected to pass, we are going to be the 30th county to ask for this to be repealed, which is really cool. So we're really making some progress between the lawsuit and all these counties and all the loopholes and problems that have been found with this law. It's really finally starting to look optimistic that we're going to get this thing taken off and completely redone and get some better legislation passed. So second part of the vid, I want to talk about some of the criticism I've gotten from some of my subs and just the average troll. I've had a couple people actually send me some very angry letters and saying they're unsubbing, and that's fine, unsub if you want. But they said I felt like I was giving the wrong advice to people and that I was kind of betraying the Second Amendment and yada, yada, yada. Really angry stuff. And I want to go on the record right now. I have not registered any guns. I have not sold any of my property. This law has only affected me so far in that there's certain things I can't purchase, but I have not done anything to comply with this law at this point, with the exception of I did fill out the form, because, in New York now we can opt not to have our pistol permit information private. I did get the form to my local sheriffs to opt not to have my information be public information, so I did fill that out immediately because, that's kind of important. I don't want my information being public. But I have not registered. I have not sold anything. We have 1 year for that to happen. And people have been critical and said, well, why would you even say you're going to do that? You shouldn't register anything. And no, I should not have to register a thing. I should not have to sell any of my property. I should not have to do any of these things. But you have to understand when, and I've spoken to the NRA, I've spoken to the New York Pistol and Rifle Association, and they do not want us acting like assholes. They want us being cool, calm, level-headed so that we do not affect this lawsuit. If I go out and start making videos telling people don't register your guns, resist this law, it's going to make this lawsuit harder for them to win. And they have specifically asked that, number one, that we not take any actions that would affect their lawsuit. But number two, they've asked that we, let them take care of it. Let them do their thing and all that. And that's part of the reason why, I'm not putting information out there and being, puffing my chest up and rattling sabers, because that's not what they want us. It's not what the NRA and the New York Rifle and Pistol Association feel is most appropriate for our state in beating this law. Now, when it comes time to actually register, if it comes time to register, if it comes time to sell 30-round magazines, then I'll be making a new video at that time and tell you what I decide to do. But for the time being, I'm not doing anything. But in the end, when it comes down to it, I'm going to be faced with a choice. If this law stands, the law is set up so that they can confiscate weapons that you don't register. It's in the law. They can confiscate if you don't register or assault weapons. So, for example, take my AR-15. If I do not register it, I can no longer bring it to the range, I can no longer shoot it, I can no longer do anything with it. If a police officer finds me with it, they're going to confiscate it, and I'm going to be charged with a crime. If I get charged with a crime, I lose my pistol permit. I lose all my pistols are confiscated, and most likely my long guns will be confiscated as well. The result of me not registering could potentially be that I lose not only my pistol permit, my ability to defend myself and my family, but I could possibly lose those rights forever. So it's not something at this point I'm willing to mess with. Now, if I choose not to register or bury a gun somewhere or do whatever, yes, that's fine, and I could do it, and no one would probably ever know. But I lose that ability to shoot that gun and practice with it and train with it. And for me, I would rather have a gun that is registered that I can shoot and train and use than have a gun that I'm hiding and that I can never use or shoot or touch. Because a gun you're not familiar with, a gun you're not accurate with, does you zero good. So I wanted to clarify that. And I know, a lot of people out there, of course, these are people out of state who are the most critical, because, most people in New York State understand the situation that we're in and are not critical of this. But there are just so many people who are, like, oh, you're an asshole, why would you tell people to register guns? I'm not telling anyone what to do. What you want to do here in New York is your own decision, your own family. But for my family, my well-being, I have too much to lose to risk the registration thing, especially when you have money, into guns, you have money into ammo. I don't buy guns to hide them. I don't buy guns to bury them. I buy guns to shoot, to bring to the range and have fun with. And the last thing I want to do is take my AR-15 and hide it somewhere and never be able to shoot it again. It's, it's my favorite gun. I would rather register the gun and be able to shoot it. My preference, if you disagree, completely understood. But a gun you have to hide does you no good. Losing your gun rights does you no good. And people say, oh, you're a pussy, you should stand up for your rights, etc., etc. I am standing up for my rights. I've been talking and in talks with NRA, New York Pistol and Rifle Association. I've talked to my assemblyman. I've talked to my state senator. I've sent letters to the senators, Chuck Schumer and Gillibrand. I've sent letters to the governor. I've sent letters to my congressman. I've sent letters to everybody. I am very much involved in this fight, as well as attending a few of the rallies as well. So it's not like I'm just sitting back and taking this, guys. There's only so much I can show you on this channel. There's only so much we can do here and show, because, you know, I have my own privacy and need my own privacy and all that. So there's only so much I can do. But I assure you that every spare minute I have is to fighting this. It's to, you know, writing letters, making phone calls, talking to people. You know, I've donated money to the NRA. I've donated money to the New York Rifle and Pistol Association. This is not a fight I'm taking lightly, and I don't want people to think that I'm just rolling over and taking this law. We still have an entire year before any registration happens. We have a year before most of these provisions take effect. That's a lot of time to fight this fight the right way, the legal way, in court, before I go to taking drastic measures. And when that time comes, guys, I don't know exactly what I'm going to do. You know, I'm not sure, but I want to put it out there that there's a long time to fight before decisions get made. And, you know, to sit there and say, you know, bad things about me at this, you know, because I said I'll probably end up registering is kind of wrong on your part, you know. So I wanted to put that out there. You know, any of you guys, you disagree, you're more than welcome to come to New York State, violate the law, and see what happens. You know, that's completely up to you. And I'll back up anyone who says they want to fight this law, anyone who wants to have unregistered guns, anyone wants to keep their 30-round mags. I will back you up 100% in your decision, because that's your right. You know, civil disobedience is your thing, completely up to you, and I will back you 100%. But for me, I have too much to lose. So, hope you guys understand. Hope you enjoyed, and we'll be keeping up the fight here in New York.